and that's why it says, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen. What does it mean, Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen? Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen, as we know, Pinchas was a zealot. What does a zealot mean? He was a person that fought for and stood up for the right thing. What does that mean, stood up for the right thing? When it comes to seeing what the Nasi of Shevet Shimon, what he did, that it says Kanaim Pogimbo. So if you think about it, it says last week's parasha, it says Vehema Bochim Petach Oel Moed. No one really knew what to do. It was a total, everyone was sort of paralyzed, and they see the maaseh that's being done, this immoral act, and everyone was quiet and silent, and no one knew how to react, and no one knew what to do. Comes Pinchas, and comes out with his spear, and he stabs Zimri ben Salu and Kozbi Batsur at the same time together, and it says the amount of nisim, the midrash goes into great length as to how many miracles happened that he didn't even have to bend down, and that the spear was able to hold on to both of the bodies. He carried them to the camp. Correct. He showed everybody. The plague, yeah. With the service. Correct. That was it. Yeah. That's when it stopped at 24,000. Right. And also on top of that, it says it was petach onwad. It was at a doorpost. What happens if you right now you basically stab two bodies, you pick them up, and you have a doorpost? So what do you have to do? You have to bend down. The miracle happened. He picked them up, and the doorpost went up. There was a miracle that happened, and the doorpost extended higher. But the idea of Pinchas is that we have to realize that we all can be sort of like a Pinchas. What's Pinchas? Pinchas is a person that stands up for the right thing, even though everybody says otherwise. And it could even be scholarly people older than you, people that have more knowledge than you. But you can sometimes have a certain clarity more than other people, but a person has to be very careful. He has to realize where that that kinah comes from, where that zealot part of him comes from. Is it coming from a good place? Is it coming from an arrogant place? Is it coming from a genuine place? And a person has to really realize that Pinchas ben Elazar ben Aaron HaKohen Heshivet Chametim al Bnei Israel, meaning not only did he do the right thing, he stopped the entire plague and he caused everybody to be saved. And seemingly at the same time, people were laughing at him. People were saying, "Raitem ben poti zeh." Did you see this person that he came that his grandfather caused avodah zarah to be born, and he would fatten avodah zarah, fatten animals to be used for avodah zarah. So, number one is to teach us that we have to be very careful with doing the right thing, and that no matter how much people put us down, people say things to us. Oh, you're too religious. You're becoming too religious. That's what the really religious people do. Person has to realize we have a Torah, we have a Shulchan Aruch, and it's something that we have to really, really try to hold on to very dearly, because the Shulchan Aruch and the Torah is our guide. And when we realize that the guide that we have in our life, which is the Torah, it allows us to have the most meaningful, successful life. And when we're careful with our Avodat Hashem, and when we're careful to also strengthen our confidence, to realize I'm going to do the right thing. He's telling me, oh, you're being too religious. Fine. But I have to work on myself. I have to work internally to be confident in doing the right thing. Like many times, I think Rabbeinu Yonah brings that in Yesod HaTshuva. He says, the classic example, he says you're at a table on Shabbat, and people are sitting around the table, and you're talking in the afternoon. You realize it's getting to Shkia, sunset, and you're like, shucks, I didn't do Sudah Shlishit yet, but like I don't want to be the weird guy doing Sudah Shlishit. Like, okay, fine, I'll have a mizonot. But every single Shabbat, you usually wash, you do Netilat Dayim for Sudah Shlishit. He says, no, get up and say, I do Sudah Shlishit. You don't. Your problem, but I'm going to do Sudah Shlishit. Never to be mitbayesh, lo litbayesh af pam, לעשות רצון השם. And that's where we learn from Pinchas. It says, ויקח רומח בידו. בקנות קנאתי ולא חידתי בני לכן אמור לו, הנה נותן לו את בריתי שלום. Now, HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave him the bracha of peace. The Sforno says, what's it Birti Shalom? And we know Pinchas is Eliyahu Navi. Pinchas hu Eliyahu Navi. And he never died. And the Sforno says, what's Birti Shalom? that he got him freed from the Malach HaMavet, from the evil, from the devil. Kinyan, no, that's Yetzer Hara. כי עניין עושה שלום עמומיו, כי אמנם ההפסד לא יקרה אלא בסיבת ההתנגדות ההפכים, וזה אמנם נתקיים בפרחה שהאריך ימים הרבה מאוד מכל שאר אנשי דורו, אשר היה משמש במשכן שלום בזמן שבלגש גיגה, שהיה מביא ספק אחרי מות יהושע, says that he was able to be at peace. He got the blessing of peace. What does it mean at peace? Sforno says that what really causes our bodies to decay and to deteriorate, being always not at peace with ourselves. And not at peace of meaning, or not sure, constantly in conflict. The conflict of what I want and what I believe in. Yeah. It's like internally. I know what's right, but I'm not living that life. Or I know this is wrong and I'm still doing it. But I'm having a hard time, making that distinction, or making that decision that I want to lead a certain life and nothing in the world is going to stop me. And then living. A person should change his surroundings, but if a person realizes his surroundings are not doing good for him, change his surroundings. Then Adam nimshach achre deot avira. And it's something that the bracha that Pinchas got, he was at peace. We're especially today living in a time of tremendous amount of stress and anxiety and medications and all these different types of things that people are really becoming paralyzed by just decisions. Like back in the day, 50, 100 years ago, our parents and our grandparents, they didn't really struggle with these things. They had very hard lives, but they figured it out. But now we have everything, but at the same time, the amount of variety and choices that we have causes us to be so stressed out and so confused and so complicated, and we sort of really are always trying to raise the bar. This one raised the bar, okay, after the next level and the next level, and constantly in competition, and that causes us to have internal conflict. Do I have enough money? Can I buy a house by the time I'm 25? Oh, but he bought a house when he's 30. Oh, he had that car.
I don't know if it's true, but the world said that a certain
standard
and a certain way of life that you have to, in a way,
if you think about it, the world did not set a standard. We set a standard.
That's what I meant, like this
society. So that's why a person has to decide how much of society are you going to let to infiltrate your house. And that's why if a person has social media, so the society is not outside. The society becomes part of his life in his house.
I'm talking about people, let's say, that by a certain age, they're already married with 2, 3 kids, and there's some people who don't want it.
Or could that could just be that everyone's on their own journey and everyone is figuring themselves out. So there are some people that get married young, not necessarily are they successful. Yeah. And that some people, they get married young, and not necessarily are they always ready, or sometimes they get certain clarities after they get married, and it causes them to have conflict. We don't know the cheshbon. We have no idea the cheshbonot shamayim. Everybody is exactly where they need to be. Exactly. Exactly.
It's hard to say that to yourself every day. That I know that I'm supposed to be.
That's why.
This is where exactly I'm supposed to be right
That's
now.
why. Who said this? One of the Sfarim, Sifra Chasidut, says, the holiest place is where you're standing right now, and the holiest time is now. So it's not, I'm here right now, I'm single right now, I'm doing this right now, learning Torah. The holiest place is for me to be sitting in the Beit Midrash learning. The holiest time is right now. What I have to do at hand right now. If I'm constantly this and that, and I'm not present. Right? That's what's the whole world getting into: mindfulness, yoga, being present, being calm. Why? Because everyone's brain is in the future and in the past, in the future and the past. No one's in now. What can I do right now to be present, take advantage of the time? Like someone was just telling me, there's like an article about people are not even enjoying. They go sightseeing, or they go to a concert, or they go to a wedding. They're not in it. What are they busy? Recording it. They're not enjoying the moment. They're busy recording. And what? How many times do they really watch what they record? Kimat never. How much do they actually watch what they record at these things? Almost never. Imagine, but it used to be 15 years ago. You went to the mountains, you stood on top of a mountain, on top of you really basked in God's glory of the world, and you enjoyed it, and you meditated on it, and you felt it, and you took in that brisk air and that into your lungs, and you really felt good, and you felt connected, and you felt grounded. You went to a wedding, you actually felt happy. You're totally involved in the simcha. Now it's like is he videoing of the chatan coming in and the chatan going on, and this one dancing and that one dancing, and you're not even present in the simcha. You go to Niagara Falls, like to sit and like take in and feel the mist on your face and to hear the raging water, millions and millions of gallons falling every second. Is he taking pictures? It's true, take pictures of it. But like, how much do we stop and really be present in where we are? We don't, and that's something that's what causes so much internal unrest because we're never here. We're there and there and there, and he wants me to do this, and he wants me to be like this, and I have to look like this, and I have to wear like this, and constantly, I'm not here. I'm not where I am. But if a person realizes I'm exactly where I need to be, Hakadosh Baruch Hu put me exactly right here. Yes, I'm 33. That. So what? So what? Again, I'm not saying sit there and twiddle your thumbs. If a person's doing the right yishtadut, and you're doing the right things, and you're speaking to the right people, and you're having your right direction, you're doing the best you can. The only thing is, Hakadosh Baruch Hu, even when you do yishtadut, you shouldn't think for 1 second that yishtadut is what's going to bring it.
What is that?
Hishtadlut is taking a step, is doing an act of an action. Like parnasa comes from God, but hishtadlut is get a job and start working 9 to 5 and bring a parnasa, and that's how. And for sure, you create a vessel, and God fills up the vessel for you.
You gotta take initiative, and God.
There you go. The word is initiative. Yeah, take your initiative, but you shouldn't think for a second that I'm successful because of my initiative. No,
Not because of Hashem made you successful.
exactly. You have to do. You have to take the initiative because of the Messiah Shalom says because there was a curse called Adam Arishon of Adam Lamal Yulad and of B'sat Apecha Dochalachem that you have to work and earn money by the sweat of your brow because of the sin of Adam Arishon, and that's the reason why. That's the reason why we have to do Ishtadut forever, right? But again, if a person really realizes the whole avodah of his life is to withstand nisyonot and to still hold on to Hakadosh Baruch Hu and never to kick the can, ever. I realize, Vadai, no one says it's easy. Nobody says it's easy. Nobody says it's easy.
בטח כל בן אדם יש לו את הניסיונות שלו, לא, אבל בן אדם שפוי ונורמלי, יגיד בוא איזה ניסיונות
הניסיונות שלך זה לא ניסיונות שלי.
לא, that's what I'm saying, נעשה כל אחד כאילו בניסיונות שאומר לפעמים איפה אלוהים.
לא, ודאי, הניסיונות, הם לא צריכים לגרום לך להגיד איפה אלוקים. אלוקים נותן לך את הניסיונות האלו. הוא נותן לך את הניסיונות האלו. והקדוש ברוך הוא איתנו בתוך החושך הכי גדול, הקדוש ברוך הוא שם איתנו, גם מאחורי הדברים הקשים, אני עומד. השם, כל הזמן בן אדם. כל הסיבה של הניסיון, the whole reason why a person gets ניסיון, is in order for a person to build himself. You get stronger, not on your high times when you're inspired. When you really build yourself? When you're down in the dumps, and you pick yourself up, that's when you build yourself another muscle, emotionally, spiritually.
That's when you need to. That's when
right.
It comes about.
Like when you're on the
you wouldn't have the challenge or the need.
Right, when you're on the top of the world, when you're on the top of the world in Ne'ilah, that's where you grow. No, it's the whole month of Elul when you missed 2 days of Shachrit and you got up anyways, and you missed Slichot and you missed this and you missed that. Say, okay, I messed up yesterday. I'm going to get up today, and I'm going to do what happened yesterday. That's why I have tshuva. Tshuva is there. Do you know how many times a day we do tshuva? We do Shachrit. Slach lanu avinu ki chatanu is tshuva. Then we do vidui. Then after that we do mincha and we do vidui. And then after that, mincha, slach lanu, and vidui. And then we do arvit, we do slach lanu. And then before you go to sleep, krat shema lemita, shema, and what? Vidui again. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 6 times a day we do vidui. Teach yourself. Isn't it confession? Isn't it like repetitive? What?
Vidui is that's
confession.
Because you never know the day you're gonna die, so you're not gonna say, "Oh, wait till I'm gonna die." Say it can happen in an instant.
Right. That's for sure true.
Like when I got run over on the way to school.
Right. That's for sure true. That's for sure true. But more than that, it's also God. Besides the fact dying, right, let's put death aside. It's because HaKadosh knows. Fine, you did shachrit, so you did tshuva about the whole night. Fine. You went to work. On the way to work, something happened. I don't know. You saw something. You experienced something. You did. So mincha, you do tshuva again. Arvit, you do tshuva again. HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives us so many times because He understands the nature of man. He understands that we have Yetzer Hara. He understands, and that's why a person, the worst thing to do is to get into despair. Yeush. Never, ever. Why? Yetzer Hara, Rav Tzadok HaKohen Melublin explains, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the Yetzer Hara will sometimes get a person to do the sin, not for the actual Avera. It's just to get him down in the dumps for after the Avera. Meaning, he get you to do a big Avera, not because of actual Avera, it's because he says, this guy, I'm going to do this Avera, and after that, he's going to be in bed for 3 days depressed. That's exactly what I want. That's the person who does an Avera. Do tshuva. Right on the Hashem mitcharet. I don't know how I did this. I feel so bad what I did. That's it. I'm going to try better next time to put the proper guideline. לא, כתוב, האומר אחטא ואשוב, אין מספיקים בידו לעשות תשובה. A guy that's planning out, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do tshuva. It's not so easy to do tshuva. But a person that realizes he's an honest person, he's sincere, he wants to do the best he can. So for sure, what do you mean? HaKadosh Baruch Hu, ידך פתוחה לקבל שווים. HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hands are always open for a person to come close. You see so many people throughout all the generations. Right? You had people that were the biggest Rashaim, became the biggest Talmid Chachamim, biggest Tzaddikim, Rabbanim. How? It's because a person needs to just have that clarity, like, oh my gosh, I'm living this life of sheker. I'm living this life of just enjoyment and just constantly feeding my body.
It's
But
like
how about my
Hiskali? Did you hear the story where
who?
he saw Hiskali, the gladiator guy? He saw the Gemara. He saw Rabbi Yohanan. He thought it was a beautiful woman.
Yeah, and
He
he
went
jumped over.
across and he said,
Resh Lakish.
He said he's Lakish. Yeah, he was a gladiator. He was
He
a
jumped over.
Rosh HaPoshim, and
Yeah.
he became a Kamil Haham Zadi.
Right, right. And he said,
what you're saying is an example.
yeah, he said, I have a sister more beautiful than me.
If you learn
And he
Torah,
married her.
you can marry her.
Right, and that's exactly what happened. Right. So that's the idea, is that a person has to realize that he could do tshuva, and his tshuva is a real thing, and a person has to just really feel remorse and regret for his past, and that's it. And what the Rambam says in Achot Tshuva, not only does tshuva clean the avera, it brings him closer back to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, much closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's something that we have to constantly remind ourselves. Our nisyonot are there to build us. It's not easy. It's challenging. Being alone, being disconnected from a friend group that might do things that are not up your alley, that might be things that you used to do in the past, but now you're past that, and you have to say no, and that's the pinchas. No, I stand up for the truth. I'm not doing this. I'm not hanging out with this group. I know it takes me to wrong places. I know it takes me, to bad places, and I come back home and I'm empty and I feel alone and I feel disconnected and I feel totally disconnected from Hashem. I'm like, what is it worth? So you're such a weirdo. Stop being. Just come out. Just do that. Pinchas. That's the idea of Pinchas. Is that it's not just a story that happened in the past. I have to be the Pinchas to stand up to temptation, to challenges, and to stand up to do the right thing the best I can. That's the idea.
He took a challenge too. So they asked Moses, what's going on? What's the law with this? And Moses, because he complained about too much responsibility, he couldn't remember. So he said the thing has, who remembers the law, enforce the law. The thing goes, okay, this is the law. And then he did what he did.
Right. Right. Yeah. Chazak u'baruch.